Next one, team transformation.
Hi everyone, my name is Badri. I'll just give you my brief introduction. I come from a maritime operations background, predominantly working first as a shipbroker, and now I handle operations and business development for an African-based company serving drilling contractors in manpower and catering services. I do have a second team member who couldn't join in today because of our time commitments, whom I'll introduce during the course of my presentation. So, can you see my screen?
Not yet. Yep, good to go.
All right, great. So greetings judges, we are team transformation. So the idea of this particular concept is to bring in inclusion of the transgender community. So before we even get into this idea, let's talk about the genesis. Why? How did it all come about? I grew up in India, I still continue to live in India, and as a kid, I constantly observed transgenders begging on the streets, begging in the trains. So I asked a very naive question to my father at that time: why do these people beg? So he just told me one simple thing at that point of time, which stuck to my head. He said lack of opportunity and social stigma. Fast forward to today, I still the same problem exists. I've lived in Africa, worked there. I see that probably the same problem exists in many other countries, right? So I got this link just over a week ago from one of my maritime friends, and I really wanted to submit this idea, but I didn't have the actual industry leader from the community. So I reached out to people on LinkedIn, I Googled, didn't find many things, but I connected, and I managed to find one very senior advisor who works as an offshore installation manager, unfortunately couldn't be here today, who was willing to contribute some insights from the industry itself. So this comprises of a brief team as of today. So let's move forward. What are the problems actually? Well, initially we thought that it's mostly the community, but then we realized it's not so much only the community. There's more problem in the industry itself. One, there is lack of awareness. There's old school thoughts. There's lack of trans-Pacific diversity trainings and the social stigma. On the community side of things, again, we have awareness of opportunities, but also are hesitant to approach the society. Even senior leaders in that position have had hesitance. Right? And even if they're currently working, there's a lack of counseling. And of course, the social stigma exists even in their community as well. So what is our proposed solution? Nothing complicated. We just want to build a simple web and app-based portal with two main divisions, one for the recruiter and one for the NGO or the community itself. And this is going to be for free. What are the features? On the industry side of things, there will be a registration with a designated DEI officer from the industry, and then the standard stuff of publishing of jobs, training, scholarship opportunities, and what have you. On the community, there's going to be a registration from the NGO or the relevant body to a designated maritime point of contact. But the most important thing which we realized over the 3 days from inputs from the other industry players was that it's the support which is more required and needs to be robust. So we need to have an onshore support, when I say onshore, for onshore based roles, and an offshore, because the type of support you need to give when people are at sea or offshore is different from the type of support you might need to give when they're onshore roles. So who will use our solution? One, that are paying users, which has got to be the HR managers, the ESG managers, crew coordinators, and eventually probably from the other industry ESG departments. And the non-paying users would be the NGOs, the individual community members, and the LGBTQ organizations. So what is the value add, if you ask me? For the industry, there's definitely a constant complaint which we keep hearing over years. Access to a diversified and curated talent pool. Why I see curated is because we're not presenting to them a huge bunch of people. It's something which we've tied up with other organizations to present to them relevant people from the community itself. And this helps them achieve the goals, definitive goals of inclusivity and ethnicity in their workforce. For the community, of course, there's respect which they can gain. There's improved mental health and well-being, right? This is one of the most important factors. You can be as talented as you want, even in the highest positions, but if you don't have the mental peace, you cannot perform. And not the least, the career opportunities which they can get. So what is the business model? We have 3 phases. The first phase is that the apps should be kept completely free for community or organization access because they're already struggling with funding challenges and those kind of things. The industry pays a fixed monthly fee to maintain access to the portal, and they pay a per candidate placement fee, which is already done in the industry. These 2 things are already done for other recruitment portals. Then the second phase, when you have enough traction, you can always display pre-approved ads. When I say pre-approved, why? Because we don't want all the junk ads coming out there. We can have a separate section, curated and relevant ads can be put out there. And we can allow other industries to also subscribe to this portal, as many skills are transferable across industries, which we use in maritime or offshore. The last phase is when actually the community members actually get to leadership positions or any relevant positions, they can contribute back. This gives them that sense of accountability, responsibility, and the inspiration to the upcoming generations that they can support themselves on their own and they can grow up in their careers. So how do we achieve this change? First one is the pilot phase. We've identified, I come from Bangalore in India. So Bangalore or Chennai. We've also written to a couple of two NGOs who are already working on some training solutions, but not in this sector. And we have the industry partners, which we need to validate a lot of these problems because of the short time frame. We have not been able to validate a lot of these problems. So the features might have to be improved. The very first step of inclusion is why we have not designed the logo is if this has to go ahead, we have to get somebody from the community, organize a logo design competition and
That's
help
time,
them.
Patrick. Are you
Yeah,
coming to
almost
the
done.
end?
Yeah, last one. So we have to walk before we run, right? We would prefer that they be introduced in shore-based roles because once you have a robust system on the shore, then they get a familiarization to the offshore industry or the seafarers, then we can bring them out to the sea. So this is the year 2 and the year 3, which is more based on the traction, and we can introduce other features, introduce buddy programs, and as I already mentioned, introduce it to the other industries. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, judges. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a refreshing idea. I guess you even gone further into solving the commercial and economic viability of the platform itself. This is not really a question, but just more on, I understand that you are targeting this more on the LGBTQ, but have you actually also thought about widening it to the sizable minority, which is more of a gender issue and also nationality, right? Because a lot of times the crews are just formed by the 5 major nationalities, and they are the minorities that may not come on.
Right. Honestly, yeah, the approach was to be a focused one. Yes, definitely that can be scalable over other communities, other minorities and all that, but we wanted to take a focused approach because most of the time what we see is when we spread out too far, then maybe you don't have the focus. So we thought, okay, let's start small, then year 2, year 3, as we get the traction, we can probably grow it to the other. But yes, definitely it's not meant only to one particular sector or anything like that. The idea is to bring about a change over a period of time.
Any more questions? We're running a bit short on time.